Larry Brown from LarryBrownSports.com here to talk with you today about SB 206. What is this bill? What are the implications of it? What does the NCAA think about it? Is it good or bad? And what changes would I make? I'm going to talk with you about all of that. So SB 206, it's a bill that was signed into law by California. It goes into effect in 2023. Well, what does it do? It allows college student athletes the opportunity to capitalize on their image or likeness, appear in ads, be part of endorsement deals, and be able to capitalize on their fame while they are in school. Before, they weren't allowed to do this, and it would ruin their amateur status. They would be ineligible by the NCAA. This is only a California thing for now. And it also does not apply to all student athletes in California. There are some restrictions. It only applies currently, per the bill, to student athletes at schools whose media rights deals are worth $10 million or more. That means you're talking about Stanford, Cal, USC, UCLA. Smaller schools like Loyola Marymount, Fresno State, Sacramento State, Pepperdine. Athletes at these schools, this would not apply to. So that's just one part of it. It's a new opportunity for athletes to take advantage and get paid while they're in school, take their talent and skill to the marketplace and just see what they're worth and establish that and not get paid under the table anymore. Well, maybe they still can, but this would allow things to operate on the up and up. Who else is working on something similar? California has already put this into effect. New York and Florida are working on something similar as well. What does the NCAA think of this? Well, as you could imagine, when there was first talk about California creating this bill, they were not happy at all. They threatened to ban California schools from participating in the NCAA. That means, sorry to all schools in California, even if you got a good basketball team, you're not going to be invited to the NCAA tournament. If you've got a good football team, USC, sorry, can't be part of the college football playoff. Not going to be invited to bowl games. Can't be part of the NCAA. That was their original stance. They have since changed their stance. Their statement that was issued indicated they are willing to talk about things. Their biggest fear is that each state adapts and adopts different rules. And they don't want that. They don't want California's rules being one thing, Florida's rules being another. What they want is uniformity. So I think they may be willing to create just some rules that cover all students, all student athletes for all member NCAA schools. What are some of the drawbacks to this? Some people think that it could lead to unfair competition. For instance, if Stanford, Cal, USC, UCLA can offer, if students go there, they can capitalize on their likeness and get an endorsement deal. It might make them more appealing than a school where they can't. Yeah, you can argue that, but look, is that any different from how things are currently? Pac-12 schools already have greater appeal just because they have larger fan bases, they're on a bigger stage, and they just have more prestige. Athletes already want to go to those schools anyway, so I don't think the demand changes. I don't think the competition changes. Plus, if you're an athlete that's just kind of on the fringe anyway, you probably aren't going to be making all that much money through this rule anyhow. And what are you worried about in that scenario? Two things: scholarship money and playing time. And you're going to go where you can get scholarship money and playing time. And all these other schools can still offer those things, even if they don't offer these other benefits. So no, I don't think it will widen the gap or create greater disparity in terms of competition. I'm not too worried about this. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing for student athletes to allow them the opportunity to capitalize on what might be a limited period of time in their lives when they have this fame. There are some athletes who will not be professional athletes. Some college kids are only going to be famous while they're in school. Now think about Johnny Manziel, for instance. A guy like him, his popularity was never higher than when he was in school at Texas A&M. And a bill like this would allow a guy like Johnny Manziel to sign autographs for money, which he already did, but at least get paid for it legally and not be ruled ineligible. It would allow him to do endorsement deals, capitalize on his fame while he is in school. And a guy like him only lasted in the pros for like a couple years. So this would really give him an opportunity to capitalize. I think it's a good thing. Allow the marketplace to dictate what these players are worth in terms of their image and their likeness. What are bad things? Well, I think it could get bad if this is just a gateway step to paying the players. I think that's a problem because now you're talking about changing from amateurism entirely to professionalism. Now, professionalism, paying these players, you're talking a whole different world. Now you're talking about, well, athletic departments, if they have to pay these players, the richest athletic departments, that gap is going to widen in terms of competition even more than now. There won't be a level playing field because the richest athletic departments will be able to pay the athletes the most. And now you're talking about really getting all the talent, all the best talent. So I think that would create problems. And in addition to that, I think you would see a lot of small programs have to fold, and you would lose a lot of teams and a lot of scholarship opportunities in the smaller sports that don't bring in much revenue, that are currently financially supported by these big revenue sports, that instead of funneling this money to pay for the water polo team to go travel, what are they paying? $5 to enter a water polo game and you got 20 fans? So they need to be back. They're financially supported by the football team that has 80,000 people going to games at $100 a pop. That finances the entire athletic department. Now, if you're funneling that money all to the players, I think you're going to have some negative drawbacks. So I think it would be a problem if this is a gateway to professionalism. Now, two changes I would make. One, rather than having agents work with these student athletes to arrange these deals, I would make all the deals run through the school, because these deals cannot be in conflict with a current deal the school has. That's what the California law states. My cousin said something funny. He said, hey, can you imagine UCLA athletes being sponsored by Big Baller Brand next year? Well, that's not going to happen because UCLA already has a deal with Under Armour, and the California law states that the endorsement deal a player signs can't be in conflict with a current deal from the school. So that's an important thing. I would have the school administer this. I would keep agents out of it. I think that would help protect the players, and I think it would really make things run a lot smoother if just it goes through the school, and hopefully in a much more honest way if it just only goes through the school. The other thing I would do is force that money to go into an escrow account that student athletes cannot access until 2 years after they're done with college. Or if they leave for the pros early, 2 years after the class they entered school with would have graduated. I think, look, it's in the best interest of a lot of people. We still want to protect these people. You might blow your money in stupid ways when you're a freshman, sophomore making this money. You're probably just going to take everybody down to the student bar, buy everybody drinks, and that's what you would do with your money. Whereas a couple years down the road, you might use it to start a business. You might use it to advertise something that you're trying to do professionally. I think it's just smarter for everybody involved. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope that I have helped answer a lot of questions. Make sure to visit LarryBrownSports.com for more. Sign up for our newsletter. And if you thought anything about this video, please leave a comment.